Hey Eagles fans, I'm Thomas Mott. Welcome into Philadelphia Eagles Now, and today, let's go ahead and answer all of your guys' mailbag questions in our second mailbag of the weekend. A lot of you guys asked a bunch of Eagle-related stuff. I tried to pull the best, most interesting questions, ones that you guys want the answers to. We'll see if your question got answered. Let's go ahead and jump right in to a question that came a lot more than I thought it would, as someone asked, would you rather have Clowney or Yannick Ngakoue? We had a ton of questions revolving around would you rather have Clowney or Ngakoue. This one summed it all up perfectly. Honestly, both of them would be fantastic. Both of them would be better than what the Eagles currently have. And what the Eagles currently have at defensive end is still pretty good. You still have Brandon Graham, and you obviously have Derek Barnett on either side. But both Clowney and Yannick are better than both of those guys, in my opinion. Now, the stats say you'd rather have Yannick. He's been a better overall pass rusher. He's younger, and he hasn't been kind of an off-the-field distraction like Clowney has been. He's also been very healthy overall, but Clowney has that certain edge, that certain nastiness that I think would be fantastic in Philadelphia. Couldn't go wrong with either of them. If I had to pick one, it would be Yannick, but you also have to trade for Yannick, so you got to give up more to be able to get him when you can just go ahead and sign Clowney. It doesn't look like they're going to get either of them, despite the fact the Eagles have tried for both at some point during this offseason, but since we're here, which one would you guys rather have? Pick one, Clowney or Yannick, to be your starting defensive end in Philadelphia. Who would you rather have? Let me know in the comment section. All right, moving on. Other questions we have here are Aiden Neal asks, who is interesting, should the Eagles look to bring back Michael Kendricks? Now, you remember Michael Kendricks, blast from the past, was on the Super Bowl team for Philadelphia in 2017, has been one of the better outside linebackers in recent history. This probably stems from me constantly ranting about how Philadelphia's linebacking core is very, very bad. The problem is that Kendricks is going to be sentenced possibly to go to jail in October. Yes, okay, so he was actually indicted and then pled guilty to insider trading charges that allowed him to technically still play because his hearing and his charging sentence, I'm not a professional in terms of the court and stuff, but he's going to be having his sentence for insider trading in October. Now, despite the fact he's going to be sentenced in October and could face jail time, he still might be able to play the 2020 season because his jail time would start after the 2020 season, according to what I read online. Another reason why you wouldn't want him, if that's not enough, he tore his ACL in Week 17 of last year against Chicago. So, overall, a great player, was a great player for Philadelphia. I was upset whenever they let him go, and he was upset because Philadelphia didn't want to actually give him the money to stay, and shows further why they seem to not care about the linebacker position. But this is not a guy that you would want due to insider trading, due to his hearing in October, and due to the fact he's still recovering from a torn ACL. How about here? Well, it's a lot of Clowney questions. What do you think if we picked up Clowney and moved him to linebacker? Okay, I understand the thought process here, and believe it or not, this was asked multiple times on my mailbag request video, moving Clowney to linebacker, because in people's mind, it's like Clowney is a great pass rusher. Could he play linebacker and also fill one of our big linebacker holes? The answer is no. Despite the fact the Eagles linebacker depth chart, as you see on your screen right now, is abysmal, might be the worst in the entire National Football League, Clowney's not a cover outside linebacker. Now, if the Eagles ran a 3-4 defensive scheme, that he could be an outside linebacker in the way that Von Miller's an outside linebacker, where he basically only rushes the passer, but the Eagles run a 4-3, so he could not be the outside linebacker because your outside linebacker needs speed and the ability to cover. That's why Michael Kendricks, we just talked about, was so successful in the Eagles organization, because he was a speed outside linebacker who could stop the run and also cover tight ends and slot receivers sometimes whenever he was out there in pass coverage as well. So no, there's really not a chance that you could get Clowney and then make him move to linebacker in a 4-3. If you signed Clowney, you would put him on the outside in terms of the 4-3 defensive line. He'd be a defensive end, he'd be a true defensive end, and he would rush the passer, as was intended when Clowney came into the National Football League. All right, I don't think there's any more Clowney questions that I'm going to pull here, so we'll just go ahead and one final thing here. I've asked a lot about questions about, do you want Clowney? Thumbs up if you want Clowney. If you don't want Jadeveon Clowney, which I know a lot of you guys don't want him, give this video a thumbs up. If you do not want Jadeveon Clowney, thumbs up this video right now. That way I can kind of gauge, again, from the previous video, where you guys are at with Jadeveon Clowney. Okay, Andre Werner asked, who do you think will have the most rushing yards? Okay, so we talked about the Eagles running backs a lot this week. I had a great video, in my opinion, a couple days ago, giving you guys 4 running back options the Eagles could sign right now, because apparently they're interested in one, and I thought Carlos Hyde would make a ton of sense. Let's assume, though, the Eagles running back depth chart is as you see on your screen. This is what it's going to be. You're going to have Clement be the number 2, Scott kind of mix in there as the 2/3, and then Holyfield be the 4, and then maybe some undrafted free agent guy comes in and steals the show. Who knows? Miles Sanders is your true number 1 running back, and I think you can expect a 1,000-yard season from Miles Sanders. I think you can for sure expect a 1,500-yard from scrimmage season from Miles Sanders. Last year, really picked up later on in the year, had 179 carries. That's going to be bumped up to maybe 230, 240 carries overall. This is a guy you need to get the football to early and often in as many ways as possible. I expect the carries to go up. I expect the yards to get to 1,000, and I do expect those touchdowns to get to 8, 9, 10. LeSean McCoy had 17 touchdowns one season in Philadelphia during his peak. So I think 8 or 9 is very, very fair overall for Miles Sanders. Now, speaking of looking good, you guys have been going out recently in terms of the grocery store to get a haircut and having to wear a mask that your grandma knitted for you that probably doesn't protect you and also looks really bad? Well, we got you guys covered here. If you guys go to chatsports.com/Eagles masks or click the link in the description, we have official, authentic Eagles masks that will keep you guys safe and also repping your team and looking really, really good. A 3-pack is $25. You can get all 3 of the ones you guys see on your screen right now, only for $25. Again, chatsports.com/Eagles mask is the place to go ahead and do that. It is, I'm telling you, the best way to be safe and also be stylish at the exact same time. All right, moving on. More questions here. Dan Lutter asks, when have the Eagles ever taken the linebacker position seriously in recent memory? What a fantastic question. I'm glad you asked. Let's take a look. The answer is they haven't, but just to kind of show you, they technically addressed the linebacker position in the 2020 draft. They got Davion Taylor and Shaun Bradley. Problem is, Davion Taylor is a hybrid linebacker. He's not a true outside linebacker. He's not big enough to actually go up and fill the run. He's more of a safety and more of that kind of rover position that a lot of teams or some teams use in the NFL. He's like a Jabril Peppers, and Jabril Peppers was more of a safety than an actual linebacker, so that doesn't really count. And Shaun Bradley was taken so later in the NFL draft that you hope that he could be a good linebacker, but there's no guarantee. Scratch that, and you look at the last time they drafted true linebackers, you got to go back to Jordan Hicks in 2015, and in the 3rd round out of Texas, who was a great player, but couldn't stay healthy, and the Eagles sent him away, and he was signed by the Arizona Cardinals, and is still a Cardinal to this day. And I guess Marcus Smith in the 1st round, although he was truly more of a pass-rushing linebacker instead of an actual linebacker. The last time I saw them draft a true inside linebacker was 2008, and the guy played like 6 games for Philadelphia, and I'm blanking on his name because he was that irrelevant. They have never put a lot of stock in the linebacker position because they've been able to, in all honesty, sign ones and trade for ones in the past. Think of D'Amico Ryans play middle linebacker. Go back to the Axemen, Jeremiah Trotter. They've done a very good job of signing people and trading for people that they haven't needed to draft linebacker until recently, when now we haven't done anything, and the Eagles have a very big, massive problem at linebacker. So they've never really taken it seriously, and it's the worst position on the Philadelphia Eagles. And if you don't agree, then type N down below. Here's the question. Is the linebacker position the worst position on Philadelphia right now? There's a lot of great positions. Defensive line is stacked. Wide receiver looks a lot better than what it was. Offensive line is great. To me, the secondary is better. The linebacker position is terrible. If you agree, type Y down below for yes. If you disagree, then, I mean, that's your call. Type N down below for no. Okay, see here, Christopher Warner, he asked, hey Thomas, keep up the grind. Your content is on point. I appreciate that. Thank you. My question for you and Eagle fans is, do you think that Alshon Jeffrey could be a bigger trade opportunity towards the trade deadline in Week 8, especially considering injuries throughout the league? Follow-up, do you think, what do you think, follow-up with, do you think JJ could develop into that possession receiver / red zone threat? Yes, I guess the trade deadline would make sense for Alshon Jeffrey, but if he's playing well enough leading up to Week 8, when the trade deadline is, to actually warrant a trade, then you probably would just keep him. Because if he's meshing well, and he's good enough to actually be traded, then he's probably going to want to just stay an Eagle, and the Eagles would want to keep him as an Eagle. But I see your point there saying, if he plays well, but also hates Carson Wentz, then you could ship him off, but I don't see that happening. Those two don't really combine. As far as JJ, that's the whole point. JJ's supposed to become the red zone possession receiver. Didn't really do it last year, but he was a rookie, so year 2 in the Doug Peterson offense, which is hard to figure out and learn, hopefully will be his year. I hope so. I really hope so, because the Eagles have speed. Really no possession receivers besides Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert. I think JJ really needs to turn out to be that red zone threat, and hopefully he will this season. Hopefully, by the time you watch this video, we will have achieved 10,000 subscribers here on Philadelphia Eagles now, but there's no guarantees. So, what you need to do is click the red subscribe button. That way you help us get to 10K, because a lot of you guys love these videos, and so we want to keep making more. So subscribe and help out the channel. Okay, let's see. We'll do two more here. Jim Jones says, what are the chances Jason Peters comes back? supposedly very strong. A lot of people said Peters was coming. He was going to be next. He's turned down offers. There was a recent report saying that Washington is very much interested in signing Jason Peters, but Peters has said all along he wants to be an Eagle. He will take a pay cut to be an Eagle. I'd be shocked for him to go to our division rivals unless the Eagles piss him off enough that he just says, peace out, I want to play against you, I hate you. I mean, I don't know. I think he's going to be an Eagle, though. See, Daniel Stewart asked, I think our secondary is good now, or do the Eagles need more help? I think it's good. I honestly am very happy with what the Eagles did at the secondary position. I get moving Jalen Mills from corner to safety, and he's played safety in the past. I love the Darius Slay trade. That was the best move of the Eagles offseason, and I really like Avonte Maddox. I think Maddox starts opposite of Darius Slay. He's shown some bits of improvement the past couple of years and some bright games. He's had some bad games, but some bright games as well. I think Maddox is the starter on the other side. I think Sidney Jones plays the slot, plays the nickel cornerback spot, and then of course you have McLeod next to Jalen Mills at the in the secondary. Nicole Roby-Coleman is a favorite to be the slot guy. I don't think so. I think Sidney Jones is going to have a monster year, or at least a better year than what he has done during his time in Philadelphia. And so that to me is what the secondary is going to be, and that's better than what the Eagles have had basically the past 5 years. Now, if they would have kept, let's just say they would have kept Malcolm Jenkins and run Slay and Mills on the outside, I think that could have been an overall better combination for this year, but not in the future because of Malcolm Jenkins' age. So overall, this is the best overall for the next 3, 4, 5 years in Philadelphia. There you go. That's all we have for today on this second Eagles mailbag video. Hopefully you guys enjoy this stuff. We're going to do a lot more mailbag videos in the coming days and weeks, so just hang out, subscribe to the channel as you guys always do. All the time we have for today on Philadelphia Eagles Now. I'm Thomas Mott signing off. Enjoy the rest of your day.